Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to 6 American things I can no longer live without. And yeah, he's obviously lived in the US now for, I think, longer than he's lived in the UK. Like, he grew up in the UK and then moved to the US. Actually, I don't think so. I think it's approaching that. Or maybe he's now lived half and half, so it's a very equal amount. So, I mean, with that, he's going to become so accustomed to the American way of life, and then just things that you can do within the US that maybe aren't so common in the UK or aren't a thing whatsoever. I don't know what things will be mentioned. Maybe it'll be the food, just the food in general. He's loving it. But to be fair, he's actually lost a lot of weight. I don't know, reaction to one of his older videos like 2 days ago. He's lost a lot of weight, so fair play to him. But anyway, American things, food, maybe the sports culture. Maybe he's like fully invested in the American sports culture now, and just day-to-day life. I mean, maybe the size of the house, just the general sizes of his house. And now he's obviously moved here in the last year. He's probably loving it because it's just the space you have and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to see, hopefully going to enjoy. Links are in the description to my Patreon where you can see reactions that I can't post to YouTube, movie reactions, TV series reactions, all kinds of stuff that I can't post here. But yeah, let's check this video out and see 6 things that he can't live without. And I guess stuff that he's used to now.
Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to things and stuff. Specifically, things and stuff that after living in the United States for nearly 16 years, I can no longer live without. And this video is sponsored by Mondly, who are offering 96% off lifetime access at mondly.app/lostinthepond. When I first moved here in 2008, I had all these British people saying, "Ooh, don't you become all Americanized?" And I hope those people aren't watching because, as you can see, there's no going back. I have become Americanized to the extent that I am now, in fact, an American citizen. And because of that, and since I've lived here for so long, you really do start to pick up an attachment to certain things. And people who've been subscribed to this channel for a long time are probably expecting me to say air conditioning right off the bat. Because I've done that 1,000 times. And it's because I've done it 1,000 times that I'm not going to do it in this video. But just take it as read that AC ordinarily is one of the things I can't live without, even though I did in Britain for 26 years. And if you aren't yet subscribed to this channel, do that now! In the meantime, here are American things that I can no longer live without.
Drive-thrus.
I feel like this one is just really embarrassing because when I lived in England...
But we do have drive-thrus here. I guess just the drive-thrus for all kinds of things.
We knew about drive-through restaurants in America and thought that looks a bit too extravagant. What's wrong with catching a bus and then walking the extra half a mile to get to the place and ordering your food there? At least then you justify the calories you're about to eat at, say, McDonald's. And I held on to that feeling for quite a while, but then I turned 40 and realised that I like my comforts, that I'm lazy, and that my dog Arthur really likes drive-throughs because it often comes with the promise of a puppuccino. And since I left Britain, I have heard that drive-thrus have popped up in Britain. And if...
Wait, so he left in 2008? Were drive-thrus just not a thing like 16 years ago in the UK? I mean, I guess no one could answer that, but I guess that's how it was. I mean, I'm too young to have known because I'd have been 7 in 2008, 6 or 7. And I don't know if there was drive-thrus then. But damn, I guess we were very far behind then. Which does make sense because the US is always like sort of ahead of certain things that then catch on in other countries. But 16 years ago, there being little to no drive-thrus in the UK is a pretty wild thought.
If you are British and you are watching this, have you experienced drive-thrus where you live? And if so, do they drive in the opposite direction around the building to here? Speaking of things that got lost in translation, wouldn't it be nice if we had an app that helped us with translation? We do. It's called Mondly.
Go on, baby. Secure the bag. Wait, what's the discount? I want him to shout out the... here we go.
The pond. The link is in my description. To jump on the sale, go to mondly.app/lostinthepond. The link is in my description below.
Love that. Mixer forces.
Number 2, mixer taps. You might have seen my YouTube short from last week where I spoke about this phenomenon.
See, I have this in my house. You don't tend to have this, like, I guess in, like, gyms and stuff. But I think this is now quite a common thing in the UK. Maybe just not in all homes. Older homes still don't have this. Like, my mum doesn't have a mixer faucet or a mixer tap, or however you want to put it.
Which is less of a phenomenon and more just the norm in most places in the world, but not in Britain. And if you don't know the reasons for that, go and watch the short in question. The point is, in the house that I grew up in Britain, and just most houses in Britain, the bathrooms and the kitchens have sinks with separate hot and cold taps. And for 26 years, I had to wash my hands like this. Get some soap, nice and foamy. Turn on the hot tap while getting foam on it. Run your hands under that. That's bloody hot. Turn on the cold tap to cool them down. Ah, that's nice. That's really nice. It's actually getting a bit too cold now, and they're done. And I never once thought to myself, there must be an easier way to do this. I did turn the taps off too, I'm not wasting water. And then I moved to America, and I noticed there was just one faucet in the sinks in the house that I lived in initially. I just thought, well, maybe this is a quirk of this particular house, and didn't really think too much of it. But I did like the fact that you could choose the temperature that came out of the tap. It didn't have to be scalding hot, it didn't have to be freezing cold, it could be somewhere in between. That said, I don't think in the middle is the perfect temperature. That's too lukewarm. I'm the sort of person who gets his steak medium well, and so when I've had a steak and my hands are all greasy, I like my temperature to be medium well. I might have thought about this too much.
Vans.
One of the biggest American things that I can't live without, and one that I've not really spoken about publicly, is vans. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, Lawrence, you and Tara have a Prius. That's hardly a van, is it? Well, calm down, you keyboard warrior. Is it warrior? Warrior? Because I'm not referring to the vehicle type. I'm referring to Vans shoes.
We have Vans in the UK.
And as you can see, these are a little worn and dog-eaten, and they're in the
They are
process
worn.
of being replaced. But the point is, these are my favourite shoe brand. And you might be thinking, Lawrence, I didn't know you were a skater boy, because as we know, Avril Lavigne is a massive fan of this channel. And I'm not a skater boy, although granted I did once have an addiction to Tony Hawk's 3. The point is, I am somebody with long legs, rubbish knees, and I don't like shoelaces. Now, I should add that Vans has lace-up shoes too, but they are pointless. Now, this is not sponsored by Vans. If it was, I'd probably show much nicer pairs of shoes. But I've just become a fan, you know, a van fan, or a van. And they're comfortable. I walk in these every day with Arthur when he's not treating them like a meal. And they've been everywhere with me, from the beaches of Lake Michigan to the mountainsides of West Virginia. And they've got the scars and the odour to prove it.
What the fuck?
Americans, did you ever think that you'd hear a British person?
He will miss. He can't. Oh, sorry, not miss. He can't live without American English now. I guess that's quite valid now. If he goes back to the UK, it's like reverting back to. I say reverting. It's just he's probably just so used to American English now. He'd just be very confused.
Person say this: I can't live without American English. Now, for me, more than most people, that's true because, firstly, it forms part of the basis of my job. Comparing and contrasting our two countries' varieties of English. But it also plays a big part in my everyday life. I mean, firstly, I'm married to an American-born citizen. Secondly, and I've done videos about the precise Americanisms in question, I myself have picked some up. Many, in fact. You know, I come from a country where we are forever fearful of the Americanization of English within Britain. The thing is that I would say to that is that Britain lost that fight a long time ago. For instance, any British person, and this is 90% of us who've ever used the word hangover are upset that we have one, but at this point are probably completely unaware that the word hangover originated in American English more than a century ago. Now, I wonder if British people at the time had the same reservations over the word hangover as they do quite a lot of American English. But then it got me thinking, we don't take any issue with most American English terms that make it over to Britain, whether it's military-derived words like radar, or musical genres like jazz and rock and roll, or a word as simple as hello. American English and British English have long influenced each other and will continue to do so long after I'm dead. And on that happy note, it's time to get up off the sofa. And British English.
Mudrooms.
That's because I want to talk influenced each other and will continue to do so long after I'm dead. And on that happy note, it's time to get up off the sofa.
What is this?
And that's because I want to talk about one particular room in my house, and that is the mudroom. And even though you find mudrooms in other countries like Canada and even to some extent Britain, it just feels like more American houses have them. And you might be thinking, what is a mudroom? Well, a mudroom, as I've pointed out in previous videos, is a sort of entryway that just allows you to drag mud in there before you enter the main part of the house. I mean, that might not be its official purpose, but that's what I use it for. And especially since I got a dog. You know, he likes to run around in this yard. Sometimes he drags me too. And so when we come back from doing that, I make sure we hang out in here first so that I don't have to bother getting a towel and drying his feet off. But I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you the main reason that I've fallen in love with this mudroom is it's a very convenient place just to store rubbish. I don't mean mouldy rubbish like food or stuff like that, but just sort of empty boxes that I don't have room in the recycling bin for yet. I've just realised that everything on this list is something that I could live without if I wasn't lazy. But the fact of the matter is, I am, which brings us on to the final entry.
Oh, the chairs. These, I can't say this word. Adirondack. No, it's not Adirondack. Adirondack chairs. Yeah, he went through these like in one of his like recent videos, and they look very satisfying because you just sort of sunk in the chair.
Over the last 2 weeks, it's become very apparent to me that I couldn't make this video without including a piece of furniture that I spoke about a few weeks ago in a video all about American furniture, and that is Adirondack chairs. It's been a good few weeks.
His face is like, save me, save me.
All about American furniture, and that is Adirondack chairs. It's been a good few weeks. I've used them very often while sitting outside with Arthur. Now, granted, it is the summer, so it sort of makes sense that I am out here, but I can imagine that I'll probably be using these in the height of winter, just not in a t-shirt but a winter jacket, because like vans they are comfortable. And you might be thinking, aren't they just like a deck chair? And firstly, no, because you don't have to fold them up and put them away, and secondly, on deck chairs your arse doesn't fall back because there's not that diagonal slope, whereas with these there is, and again appeals to my laziness. And then of course the arms that I spoke about in that video are majestic. I mean, you can fit your phone on it for one, and number two, you could probably play an entire board game. I've got this idea that my wife or friends will bring along their other Adirondack chair, put it here so that they're sitting there, and we'll just put a board here, play checkers. The one thing that I didn't mention in that video is that they're really easy to clean, and I know that because they're constantly getting covered in bird shit. That is one of the downsides of having it under a magnolia tree, which is so massive I didn't really have any choice.
There we go.
So that's my list, or at least a partial list, because like I said, there's hundreds of other things that I could have included. And if this video does well, my producers say, then we'll do a part 2. If it tanks, then we'll just push that part 2 under the rug. If you did like this video and you were interested in what I was saying about my Adirondack chair, why not watch this video for furniture styles that I only encountered after moving to the United States.
Even as an American, I never gave a crap about drive-thrus until I had a kid, and then I understood. Drive-through bank ATMs are beautiful. Wow. Drive-through banks or ATMs, especially in the winter, I miss them when travelling. When we visited our friends in Scotland, they had a mudroom with grapes growing in the ceiling. It was brilliant. Wait, what? Oh man, for the ultimate indoor laziness, some Adirondack chairs come with a reverse sloped footrest or ottoman, so you can put your feet up but not have them out horizontally and keep your knee bent. Fair enough. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction, and these are things that I guess he's just got so used to now, so comfortable with. He can't see a world without them, and that's fair enough. But hopefully you enjoyed, and until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.